again, YouTube! This is Dr. Kendo, and I hope you guys are ready because we have Five Nights at Kendo's Part 3. This is not only being recorded, but it's also going to be done live. So this is a live stream if you're watching this live, but of course it'll go up on Sunday per usual. I just thought I'd give everybody a chance to see this early because I am going to be going to PAX South. So yes, anybody that's going to be in San Antonio, Texas coming up pretty soon, I will be there for PAX South. So anyway, we've got Kendo right now. If you saw the reveal of when I had a baby, of course, baby Kendo, he is actually behind me. So if you hear any little gurgles and goos and coos and things like that, maybe baby Kendo will talk to us a little bit. But anyway, yes, we've got my design for Kendo. If you saw that announcement video, it's basically starting off with a dude as the source object and putting a man torso over that. But what we want to do for Five Nights at Kendo's purposes, of course, this is a Kendo crossover episode. I think my subscribers generally like these a lot, but this is the part 3 of Five Nights at Kendo's, as I said, so we're going to be making mostly Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator type characters. So why not start out with ROCKSTAR Kendo, because we got a starfish there on the chest to represent the star that goes on the rock stars, and we also have a mic in his hands right there. Of course, I added a bow tie to our Kendo here, gave him a different color scheme. I think, I kind of battled what colors am I going to make, his shirt and his shoes, and just basically what's the double color scheme, because you guys know that the ROCKSTAR animatronics in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, or if you want to call it FNaF 6, basically they were two tones. So in essence, the main tone of like Freddy, for example, is brown, but then he has the purpley pink for the cheeks and the knees and various parts like that. So we're going to go with two tones for this. Excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous whenever we do these live, but I don't know why. We've done enough of them. So we do have the top hat, and actually going along with this, I thought, well, my favorite color is blue these days, and I also used to like the color red. So that's why ROCKSTAR Kendo right there with the pike eyebrows. You can see that basically the main color schemes were red and blue mainly. And so anyway, of course, we have Lefty Kendo, so the left-handed mic user right here, because the microphone is in his left hand this time. So just like Lefty, we basically are doing a somewhat of an inverse for the colors, but not fully. So like, if you think, I used to do photography, you guys, so I was a photo minor, I guess, and I was a communications major in school, but I did photography as my minor, and I did photography all through just growing up and whatnot. And so with that, I thought, hey, why don't I kind of go the opposites of the color wheels just to some degree? And so instead of the bow tie being red, we'll actually go with a cyan color. And so, it's like the opposite of blue, for example. If it's just straight up blue, is yellow. And so I had a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red being the opposite for the cyan color, and the yellow colors on there. But anyway, of course, we want to include baby Kendo. This is something I've gotten to do, and especially now, this is the first Kendo crossover now that baby Kendo was actually born, you guys. This is crazy because we were including him a little bit before he was born, but now we get to include him. Hopefully you guys can guess who he's gonna be. If you can't, we got a car, actually, the front wheel. You could probably take the back one, but the front one looks a little bit more proportional and better for the ears, because yes, this is all taking shape. Baby Kendo is going to be Helpy, because Baby Kendo, I thought it was really good being that the Helpy in Five Nights at Freddy's 6 kind of looks like a little baby Funtime Freddy. So anyway, there we go. We got a dot coming up next, and the top hat, of course, up on all of that. Mittens for the little mitts, sometimes, baby Kendo in real life, he does occasionally wear some little mittens and stuff, but babies have been known they put little mitts on them. And so that's the stamp limit reached actually already, because we did start off kind of with that base baby Kendo design, which has like a snowball for the head, road hump for the mouth, as well as the little hat that he's wearing and stuff, and lots of different stamps like the chicken nugget ear and all of that. So anyway, we'll move on to the next one. I figured that it would be, we would be remiss to not include a scrap baby type character. So obviously Mrs. Kendo can really fit the bill there. So we're in the color pattern library right now, grabbing this texture on the 14th page in the top middle area. It's that newspaper color. This can go on a lot of the body right here, because Scrap Baby, of course, in FNaF 6, it's like there's a lot of the animatronic parts exposed. And if you ever were wondering, Emily Halpin is how you spell that. So that's why I went to the properties editor real quick just to show you guys that the source object is Emily Halpin for this updated Mrs. Kendo design. Again, if you saw that announcement video of baby Kendo when we were announcing that we were pregnant and all that, Well, you probably saw Mrs. Kendo's updated design there. It's mostly Emily Halpin. But anyway, we got a ping pong ball coming up next. You notice that there's those, like, the orange light or orb right there on the chest, and then there's like half of the green one showing up as well. Well, in this case, the design is a little bit smaller, I think, than if we were making a scrap baby fully, kind of like with a head and a body separately and going way out there with the stamps. So this time we'll just use a nursery fish, the fin of that, to be the green orb kind of poking out right there, that sphere shape, and on the chest. And so then we had a clown car, one of the wheels from that, because it shrinks down small enough to where it can make those little skates. You know, it's like Scrap Baby, of course, has the roller skates, and so we figure we should give that to our Mrs. Kendo Scrap Baby version. And so claws will go on one hand, this one that has just the hand, but then we can actually go with the Robosaur. And this is interesting because taking that bottom jaw, it's a really good stamp to do this like clamper, arm that she has on the other side. There's the stamp limit reached again because, I guess this bears repeating, but basically we are starting off with that design of Mrs. Kendo that we had before, so a lot of the stamp space was kind of taken up by that. So here we're going to do 2-in-1, so you can see two characters on screen with the security puppet that we started off with from a previous video. That's on the top left side, and another Kendo design down there on the bottom right. We actually took away the man torso that kind of covers up that dude source object body right there. And with the Molten Kendo, we are going to mostly kind of go with, it's going to look sort of like a combination of our Kennard, like Innard, Kennard right there, and then maybe a little bit of borrowing what we did with the Scrap Baby design for Mrs. Kendo right there just earlier. So kind of going along with that Kennard design, we have the Treant. So we're taking actually the back arm, shoulder, I guess it's like the bicep and shoulder pieces of that Treant, as well as the front one. So of course for the front arm of Molten Kendo and the back arm. And so a Dory, the fish Dory, and I don't mean like Finding Dory, it's not a blue tang or anything, but the Dory right there is what we can use for the hands. There's a little fin down there that has like these 3 prongs to it that look like some weird fingers, and so I think for a Molten character, it can do really nice. As it stands, they sort of look like Diary of a Wimpy Kid characters, so don't worry. We will go over those the eyes right there with a golf ball. And notice, of course, the security puppet taking shape with the Megalania. That front leg, but it's the top part, that top, like, upper leg piece or whatever, is for the black around that. And this is going to be interesting with the security puppet version, our security Kendo, because to get the eyes, we can actually save stamp space if we do have those black around the eyes, but then we can do one stamp to convey both eyes by using evil eyes. So you just literally type in evil eyes. So you'll see that in a little bit. Notice on the Molten Kendo, though, there down in the bottom right, we do have a Nautilus. There was like these tentacle pieces of the Nautilus. We put those behind the black eye hole, I guess, for the Molten Kendo there to show that there's like wires coming out of the eyes. And so that's the stamp limit reached up there on our security Kendo up top. We're going to finish off Molten Kendo with some intestines and things to make it look like there's all these wires going every which direction. And don't worry, I know that a lot of you are chatting and whatnot in the chat, and I will get to you guys just right now. This is obviously we are kind of like in the midst of recording this and doing this live, so I can't really get to a lot of the comments just yet, but if you are watching this live, stick around towards the end. We're going to answer questions and read the chat and all of that. So this might be one of my favorite designs coming up here. We're going to have a sombrero going on our Kendo creation right here. Who else could that be? I mean, we gotta go with El Kendo, because it's like El Chip, and so this is gonna be great. I love how this ends up turning out. And so, kind of going with mostly a brown color scheme or whatever, but the sombrero, I would love to do that kind of more detailed, but we're working within the stamp space limitations. Notice that on these Kendo crossover videos, we typically don't do them in 2 different parts, as in, we don't do every object like with the head and the body separately, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so with that, we are obviously more limited on stamp space than usual, because most of my characters, I would say like 98% of what I do now in Scribblenauts Unlimited, the head and the body are separate. And so we're going to go with a golem, that back thigh piece right there. That's going to be like, for Kendo, I kind of always am wearing shorts. It's like, even when it's super cold outside, I typically like to wear shorts. I'm like the youngster in Pokemon. The shorts are comfy and easy to wear. So we're going to go with webbed feet. This is actually kind of interesting. A departure from any of the Kendo characters, I believe, at this point. Well, that could actually be debated, but With this character, we're actually going to go with bare feet, basically. So I typed in webbed feet, and we just painted them flesh tones right there for the Kendo flesh color. And we have a mango right now to be for that beaver tail. It's like he's going to be stuffing a beaver tail, almost like a costume, or maybe this is some kind of beaver hybrid Kendo character. Nobody knows until the backstory comes out one day. A surfboard will be for that top line of the beaver tail right there. And we're getting kind of close to the end here. I was thinking kind of like there are a lot of characters we can still do. So certainly this doesn't mean that part 3 is the last one. You know, Scott has made like how many games and books and coming up with a movie and all that stuff that he's coming out with and everything. So Five Nights at Kendo's, certainly part 3 doesn't have to be the end, but this is one of the last characters that we're going to do for this episode. I'm going to go with the drumstick right now. We did have the letter I as our source object right here. The drumstick is going to be for mainly a handle. If this is taking shape for you, you probably noticed that it's Pan Stan. So for this case, Five Nights at Kendo's is gonna be Pan Kendo. Go figure, right? So we have a sphere up there at the top for the pan. This is all materializing slowly. I think it'll make sense as we keep going on, though. We do have the little legs down there, which were also the letter I on both sides, and a shoe. Because a shoe right there is the red shoes, of course, goes for the fact that if anybody is new around here and hasn't seen any of the other Kendo crossovers, I do wear red shoes, red Converse a lot, or I at least did a lot when I was in college. So that was something that I sort of stuck out, was like, how can we make these characters different from the original while still maintaining at least their semblance to the originals? So it's like, really trying to strike that balance is something that I do for you guys every single time. And so with the Pan Stan design, it is going to look a lot like Pan Stan, but going to have the Kendo hair, of course, coming up. It's like who would sell a pan with crazy hair like that, you know? Like, who would sell a pan with hair, for one? But I mean, it's gonna have the Kendo hair because, of course, I slick my hair up in the front, so that's why that mica head is very good for any of the Kendo designs that we're doing. So, Tooth Fairy, we can take that back arm. If you are ever wondering, you really want to, if you're on the Wii U, just kind of point specifically with the stylus at the arm. Don't try to like go to the right of the arm and slide it over. You know, really try to touch where that arm exactly is, if that makes sense. That's like sort of a way to get it out easier from the Tooth Fairy and extract just that arm. A P-E-A, of course, that's for the nose. And we went with a wake skate. You could do like wakeboard. That all is synonymous for the mouth right there. And the P is going to be for the nose. And we got golf balls coming up for the eye, as well as just a circle shape. So that's the inner eye right there is the golf ball. And then the outer eye can be a golf ball again for the left side that we're doing, with a P being a little bit smaller of a circle that can fit in there. So, of course, we don't want to call this eye. We'll name it Pan Kendo right there. He's going to be stationary, though. I believe that's how it was in FNaF 6. The Pan character was, you know, kind of just stayed still for the most part. You can do some basic scripting. Really, you can do whatever you want, but I'm going to have a lot of these characters scripted to similar to how we did the ROCKSTAR animatronics. You know, they'll use instruments, especially the instrument that is theirs. Like, for instance, El Kendo is going to be using string instruments, you know, because he's going to play the little ukulele and all that. So here's a good look at all of these characters for part 3 right here. Again, this is kind of honoring Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, that sort of thing. So that's why a lot of these characters, or I guess all of them, I should say, came from that. And so we do have our little Springtrap Kendo. That's more just the avatar. It's not the Spring Kendo Trap version that we did actually a creation of. It's just my avatar. Notice, of course, our little helpy Kendo baby. You can make him dance. He'll stand up on his toes like that. It does look kind of goofy to have a baby. You know, our baby in real life, baby Kendo can't stand up on his own right now. He needs to obviously have us prop him up. But hey, it's Scribblenauts Unlimited. Your imagination is the only limit. Anyway, this is all the characters we've done so far. If you imagine, we had part 1, part 2, and there was part 3. So we got all of that done. And just for the recording's sake, I'll say I will catch you guys on the next vid, and thanks for viewing. So you can be the viewer and
down the road of